Hi, you guys. Sorry, we had some sudden technical difficulties. The video just stopped, so I'm not quite sure what happened, but I'm back. Part 2, writing equations with the variable on both sides. And let me go ahead and move that out of our way. Okay, so after how many days will the two beakers hold the same amount of water? Okay, so let's go ahead and choose D as our variable, and that is going to represent the number of days. And we're trying to figure out at what number of days will these two be equal, okay? The amount of water in the beakers. We want to know how many days it's going to take for there to be exactly the same amount of water in each beaker. Okay, so an expression to represent Nolan. We know that his beaker started out with 2.8 inches of rainwater, and it increased by, and remember increased by means we're going to use the addition operation, so it increased by 3.1 inches per day. Okay, we don't know how many days, so we're going to use that variable. So 3.1 every day added to what he started with. And then an expression for Tina, her beaker started out with 5.3 and then increased by 1.7 inches per day. And we want to know after how many days will the two beakers hold the same amount of rainwater. So we want to know when the amount of water in Nolan's beaker is equal to the amount of water in Tina's beaker. We go ahead and just set those two equal. And then let me go ahead and clear off some space here on this side, and we'll figure out the answer to this equation. So remember, when you're solving a variable on both sides equation, you want to find your variable term, and then you want to get those two variable terms to be on the same side of the equal sign. So we're going to take the 3.1d, and we're going to take the 1.7d, and we're going to get those on the same side. So I think the best way to do that would probably be to just minus 1.7d, because that's going to leave us with a positive variable term. Okay, so now we have 2.8 plus, when we subtract 3.1 and 3.1 minus 1.7, we get a 1.4d. So 1.4 times by d equals 5.3. And then from there, we're going to minus the 2.8 from both sides. So we get 1.4d equals 2.5. And then from there, the d is being multiplied by 1.4, so we're going to divide by 1.4 on both sides. So let me grab the calculator. So 2.5 divided by 1.4 is a decimal that doesn't repeat, and it doesn't end actually. So let's go ahead and round this to the hundredth spot. So when you guys put that in your calculator, you'll see that it is a decimal that doesn't repeat or doesn't end. So we're going to just round this to the hundredths, 1.79. So that means that the number of days that it's going to take for these to be equal, the amount of water in the beakers to be exactly equal, is going to be somewhere in between 1 and 2 days. And we can see by this number right here that it's going to be a lot closer to 2 days than it is to 1 day. Okay, let's go ahead and try a few more of these together, and then you guys have a short assignment to do today, and then you'll be done. Okay, so number 3, Celebrity A has 400 followers on social media and gains 75 followers each day. So this really isn't a very big celebrity, is it? I was just thinking like that. 400 followers is not very many followers. I bet you a lot of you have way more than 400, and you're not even a celebrity. Okay, Celebrity B has 1,000 followers on social media and loses 25 followers a day. So Celebrity B must have done something to make them not as popular. After how many days will the celebrities have the same number of followers? So we want to know after how many days Celebrity A has the exact same number of followers as Celebrity B. So let's first define our variable. Let's use f for the number of followers that they have. Or the number of followers that they're either gaining or losing. We know that celebrity A starts off with 400 and gains 75. And actually, I'm going to change this. We know that they gain 75 each day. So let's make our variable equal to D for the number of days that pass. Okay, so 75 each day. Okay, so this is celebrity A. Celebrity B, they start off with 1,000 followers and they lose 25 a day. Okay, so this is the expression for celebrity B. And then we want to know after how many days, okay, how many days will the celebrities have the same number of followers? So we want to set the 400 plus 75D equal to 1,000 minus 25D. So we'll go ahead and just solve this really quickly. Remember that you want to find your variable terms. You want to get those on the same side by using opposite operations. So let's go ahead and add 25D to both sides. So now we have 400 plus 100 times by D equals 1,000. And then we're going to minus 400. So we get 100 times by D equals 600. And then we're going to divide by 100. So the number of days when they will have exactly the same number of followers is 6. Okay, let's do the next one. Ben and his friends are going to play putt-putt, code for miniature golf, I think. One location charges a $2 fee plus $7.50 per game. A second location charges an $8 fee plus $6 per game. How many games would they have to play for both locations to cost the same amount? Okay, so we want to know how many games they have to play for both locations to cost the same, right? So we want to know when those two are equal to each other. So we're going to say G for the number of games, because that's our variable. How many games would they have to play? So Ben and his friends for the first location get charged a $2 fee plus $7.50 per game. At the second location, it's an $8 fee, and it is $6 per game. And we want to know when these two are equal to each other. So we do $2 plus $7.50 per game. We set that equal to $8 plus $6 a game, and now we solve. So to solve this, we are going to get those two variable terms to be on the same side. So let's go ahead and subtract the 6 from both sides. I think let's subtract the 6G from both sides, because that's going to leave us with a positive variable. So 2.15 times by G equals an 8. And then we want to minus 2 from each side. So 1.5 times by G equals a 6. And then we divide by 1.5 on both sides. And then 6 divided by 1.5, if we do that in our calculator, we get 4. So the number of games for the amount of money to be the same at both locations would be 4. So we would say 4 games. If they play 4 games, it doesn't matter which location they go to, it costs the same amount. Okay, just because of the sake of time, we're going to skip this one and we're going to go to number 6. This video is getting kind of longer than I wanted. So number 6, 35 more than 0.8 times a number is the same as 43 less than the product of -7 and the number. Okay, so we don't know what the number is. What we do know, though, is that 35 more than, and that more than is addition, so 45 more than 8 times a number, and remember, we don't know what the number is, so let's call that the variable x. So 35 more than 8 times a number is the same as 43 less than the product of -7 and the number. Okay, so this one is a little bit more tricky. Whenever you see less than, you have to be kind of on high alert because you have to actually write that backwards from what you're thinking. Like you can't just plug in a subtraction for that. So if it's 43 less than the product of -7 and the number, we have to do the product of -7 and the number, and then we have to do 43 less than that. Okay, so whenever you have a less than, just remember you have to be on really high alert and you have to write the second part first and then the less than. Okay, now from there we're just going to go ahead and solve. So we would add 7x to both sides. So 35 equals 7.8x minus 43. And then we would add 43. Running out of space. So that's going to be 78 equals 7. Let me move my face up here. So 7.8 times by x. And then we're going to divide by 7.8. Okay? So you're going to take the 78, you're going to divide by 7.8, and you are going to get a 10. Okay, let's look at the last one, and then you guys can start working on your homework assignment. Decreasing 3/4 times a number by 18 is equal to increasing 1/2 times the number by 5. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to define our variable. Let's just use n for number. And then let's write our two expressions for each of these situations, and then let's write them equal because we want to know what the number is when these two situations are equal to each other. So decreasing 3/4 times a number. So if we take 3/4, we times by a number and we decrease it by 18. So decreasing 3/4 times a number by 18 is equal to increasing 1/2 times the number by 5. So if we take 1/2 the number and then we add 5. So increasing 1/2 times the number by 5, that's what that's going to look like. And then we can go ahead and solve this equation from there. So we minus 1/2 from both sides. So then we get, and I'm going to go ahead and just clear off some space up top. So when we do 3/4 and we minus 1/2, we're going to get a 1/4. So 1/4 times by n minus 18 equals 5. And then from there, we're going to add 18 to both sides. So then we have 1/4 times by n equals 23. And then because this variable is getting multiplied by 1/4, in order to get that alone, we have to use division. So we're going to take the 23, we're going to put that in our calculator, we're going to divide by 1/4, and then that is going to give us n equals 92. Okay, so now you guys have the rest of the time to work on your assignment. And as far as your assignment goes, because the lesson took me a little longer than I thought, you guys are just going to do the writing equations with the variables on both sides, homework number 7. And I just need you to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so you only have 5 questions to do. Mrs. Melancon has the answer key, so when you're done, I want you to bring it back to her and she can check it off and make sure that you have written your correct equation and that you have the correct solution. Remember that all of your work needs to be shown so that that work leads you to your solution. So, hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I made another video for you on Monday. See you later.